We are here with Fred Ranger. Fred Ranger is an amazing YouTuber, podcaster, writer, magazine editor slash distributor. You are a jack of all trades and amazing at photography. Fred, it's good to have you back on for our traditional let's talk about what Fujifilm released.
It's good to be back, my friend.
Very cool. And man, it wouldn't be a Fujifilm event without there being tremendous controversy. Let's first start off by saying the biggest announcement on Thursday, which had us all in shock and awe, is the announcement of Spaceballs 2. My God. My mind was blown. I didn't think that was ever going to happen, and sure enough, they come out with a killer teaser.
It happened before the X Pro 4. Can you believe it? Can you believe
It
it?
happened before the X Pro 4.
That's a
It might
controversy.
actually be released before the X Pro 4 too.
At the pace it's going like that, absolutely.
Yeah, my God. But yeah, I absolutely cannot wait for this. So the biggest joke from back in my day, back in my youth, was of course in the movie Spaceballs. We're going on a bit of a tangent here, folks. In Spaceballs, there's the joke that there's going to be Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. But what I heard in my youth was that the next movie was going to be Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2. And then the third movie would be Spaceball 2, The Search for More Money. So, it's
It
one
works.
of those urban legends. I don't know if anybody else has heard this, but that's what I heard in my youth. So, anyway, enough Spaceballs talk. We're going to talk about the other elephant in the room, and that is the Fujifilm X-E5. At long last, has come to pass. They made the announcement, and oh boy, did that have people... It was a thing.
It's out. Well, it's not officially available, but it's announced, and some reviewers have done their reviews, Betapixel and all the guys.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an interesting move on Fujifilm's part, and I guess we're going to unfold the whole story.
Absolutely. And let's just start off by saying the design is absolutely beautiful. The machine aluminum top plate looks stunning, and it's always elegant. I mean, every year, every iteration, that minimalist form just gets even more minimalist. I would
Yeah.
say, and in this case, I think from my point of view, I'm probably wrong on this, but it has kind of like that Art Deco vibe. If Art Deco could be a camera, just the way it is, just doing the curves and the in the angles, it just looks really nice.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they've mastered the art of sleek-looking cameras, and just look at the top of the camera. I mean, that little window is just that the small attention to details and really bringing that nostalgic aspect to cameras. I mean, thank God there's Fujifilm that brings that to the table. There's other brands that are now entering the game, as we know, with Nikon, and there's the F line, and also I think it was Pentax that brought back some retro cool looking cameras. I think Canon is still rumored to come up with one, but Fujifilm is the OG when it comes to tapping into that nostalgic aspect of how we like to shoot.
Well, technically, it's Leica because they never switched.
Well, there you go. So that's yes, I guess Leica is the real OG, the grandpa, the godfather, and then Fuji is just it has mastered the art of doing it for less money, although they're still getting increasingly
Yeah, we'll get it.
expensive. Yeah. That's one point that people weren't really happy about. But ultimately, it's more affordable than, of course, any Leica cameras.
Absolutely. Um, the film simulation dial. We heard rumors of that coming to the XE camera line, and
Hmm.
my original thought was that it was going to be we would lose a dial in place of the film simulation dial.
Hmm.
That was my biggest fear. And then when I heard that it was going to be an additional dial, I really thought it was going to be akin to the GFX 100 RF. We were going to get a film simulation that was side mounted. How about you?
Yeah, I thought that would be it too, but they surprised us with that new design, that introduction of that little window on top. I thought it was really, really well executed on that front. Definitely a nice way to keep the exposure comp dial, the shutter speed dial, and of course the now the film simulation dial. So I think it's a brilliant move. I mean, a lot of people will still be pissed about not having an ISO dial, but that's again, yeah, there's other cameras if you want that. If you absolutely want that ISO dial, dedicated dial.
Yeah. I I'm fine without the ISO dial. The I always find that I have that set to automatic anyway.
Hmm.
So having it invisible or is just like one of the side dials, it's fine. I never thought it was that. I never thought it was a miss on their part, and it is a lesser camera. If I don't like using that word, but it is not the top tier, so it's not going to have the ISO dial. It's never had the ISO dial. The film simulation, I think this is the film simulation dial that everybody has wanted from the
Yeah,
beginning,
yeah,
because what it allows is three custom settings to be able to just be completely customized and saved into one particular spot without having to affect the other film simulations. And that is unique in that the XT50 and the XM5 don't have that feature. They
yeah.
have a custom place, but it's not saving everything to that one particular slot. It's affecting everything universally.
Exactly, exactly. I think this is also something that beginners will appreciate. Again, it's as good as any other film simulation selector. It's just that it's right there on top. And if you're just starting out in photography, seeing things and moving dials is actually more, I think, insightful than diving into menus. So again, everything you can surface up within the UX, I think it's a win. And for a camera that's, to your point, more entry level, again, we need to address the price because that's the other elephant. And there's a lot of elephants today in the room, so we'll have to address those. But ultimately, yeah, it's just a nice way to learn photography.
And I wonder if this new feature on the XE5 can be given retroactively to the XT50 and the XM5, because it feels like this is just the game changer that everybody had wanted.
Hmm.
And I'm curious to see if it's possible for a firmware update to be made on those cameras to fit that in there, because they do have the spot for
Yeah.
custom, but it's not exactly. I don't know how much hardware or how much software is involved in updating those, but I mean, it'd be nice to see that happen for them.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I think they've changed their strategy a bit in the past. I would have said automatically, yes, they're gonna trickle down to previous models, but recently they're a bit acting more a bit like a profitable business, which is you need to create some level of separation between products and reasons why you should get one or the other.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. They might end up doing it down the road, but yeah, it's twofold. The first one is technical limitation. To your point, I don't know what's processing power it requires, and ultimately business moves.
Yeah. I mean, I had. It makes total sense that it would happen down the road, not tomorrow. Just because they have a lot on their plate, I guess, right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting that the camera is announced now. You could pre-order now, but you will not be able to receive it until August. And
Yeah.
so why don't you take the horn on that one?
Well, vacation time is past after that. I mean, again, a lot of people take their vacations in August, but that's the perfect ideal, I think. If you're in the Fujifilm ecosystem, if you already have a couple lenses, this is the ultimate travel camera. And you won't be able to have it for, June, July, and the end of August is already late. So I hate it when companies, and this is valid for any companies, Apple, Fuji, Leica, whatever, when they announce stuff and then it's, super long. And we know that Fuji is notorious to not being able to deliver fully on their orders. Wink, wink, X100 series, any one of them.
Any camera at this point.
Any camera, yeah, exactly. I feel that other brands, like, not to name them, but like Sony and Canon, like when they announce a camera, it's available. Like it's there. You can buy it in the store or order it online, and the next week you get it at your home. So, again, that's also a business type decision to announce stuff and then have people wait. I don't like it. I don't think it's a good customer experience, but that's just my opinion. I guess they needed to create some hype, and it's a different strategy.
I think it's slightly different, personally. I think the gap is to prevent what happened with the X100-6. I think that I'm hoping that they have been manufacturing this camera for a little while now, kind of akin to what they were doing with the X100-6, but giving that extra buffer so that they can at once fulfill a bunch of orders.
Yeah, but you and I have the same conversation about the X105 versus the 6, and look what happened. So I want to believe you. I want this to be true. I will see.
I mean, we will see. That is absolutely for certain. I know that Fujifilm, even though it's a worldwide company, camera-wise, it's still a pretty small company. Like Canon, Sony, and to a certain extent Nikon, they are much, much bigger as far as production goes compared to Fujifilm. I know that factory-wise they have their limitations. And in today's climate, I mean, it's even more complicated due to aggressive negotiations happening.
I like your politically correct positioning. Aggressive negotiation. Oh my God! Just the world is just going in flame, and it's just tariffs and stuff. Like, it's just crazy. Can you imagine the price of a Leica M12? How much is going to be with the tariffs? Like, it will be $1 gazillion. Like, it's just honestly, it's
so in a sense, it's no different.
Well, even more than today. No, but it's just crazy how, again, this camera, I think we should talk about the price, because this is in Canadian dollars, and you can give me your US price. This camera is $2,200. $2,200.
Body alone, right?
Yes. I mean, this is crazy. This is XT3 prices, XT4 prices back then. It's just everything went up. And I understand that the prices of chips and manufacturing and everything went up, and tariffs and so on. But man, this is a very, very expensive camera for what it is. Again, it has all the qualities that we're going to discuss today, and I give them that. But that price tag, it's going to be hard to swallow for a lot of aspiring photographers.
Yeah. All right. So that's the elephant in the room. So let's get that out of the way. I was hoping to save it to the end, but it keeps popping up too much.
Well, you know me. I like to be a shit disturber, and I will be today.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. So yes, in the United States, the camera is $1,699, essentially $1,700, and I did a little digging on this because it's important to note that Fujifilm, when they had their keynote, they did not give the price in dollars. They gave the price in euros. And I'm like, that's such a cop-out. It's Fujifilm. I love you, baby. But own it. Don't try to hide it. Don't sweep it under the rug. we all know what's happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just freaking own it. But I'm also going to play devil's advocate because in their keynote announcement, when they announced the price in euros, that is probably the more stable amount that they could do, either euros or
Yeah.
pounds.
Currently, yeah. You
They
can take the Canadian dollar is just not advantageous to say this camera is going to be $2,200.
yeah.
Canadian though, it doesn't
Canadian.
worth anything. Yeah,
But it's important to note that in the keynote they mentioned that price is subject to change depending on country or region.
of course.
And that, I think, was a big indicator as to what's happening. Because in the United States right now, between the United States and Japan, there is a 10% tariff at the moment on all
Yeah,
non-automotive products. And that is a temporary tariff because if a deal cannot be made come July 8th, the tariff goes back to 24%.
ay, ay, ay.
Or it could get more, it could get less. Who knows? It depends on the big man's mood, really.
Yeah.
I-
Should we wish him happy birthday today? Isn't
you know
it
what?
his
Let's
birthday?
all wish the Supreme Leader a happy birthday.
Oh my goodness, the cult supreme God. Sorry. So that podcast used to have a clean rating. We'll keep it clean.
Yeah, I might have to edit this part out. It's so the price is subject to change right now.
Yeah, yeah,
So the price right now in the United States reflects more or less that 24% tariff. So it's an increase. Now, when I looked at the prices in the UK and Australia, let's use the UK for example. The XT50, when it was first announced, launched for I think it was £1,300, and the XT50 or the XT double digit cameras and the XE line have always shared the same price because they're essentially the same camera
Yeah.
throughout the years. And so when the XT50 was announced and it had that price increase, the main reason for that price increase was the IBIS. The IBIS increased that price. At least that's what Fujifilm claimed.
Yeah.
And there you go. That was the reason. So when the rumors had the announcement that the XE camera would have IBIS, I knew that it would be no less than what the XT50 is going for.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, in the UK, when the XE5 was announced and got its price listing, it's exactly the same as the XT50. In fact, I think it's $100 less in comparison because of taxes. All their prices include taxes at the end. So yes, they're the same price, but that's also including taxes. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
They are the same price. And I think that was always the intention before the tariffs happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that the tariffs are in place, it's become more expensive. And I think they're going to stay that way because of all of the uncertainty happening. Fujifilm hasn't changed the prices of any current camera line. In fact, no camera company has changed the camera prices of current items already in place. And
Yeah, but let's not forget they were shipped before. Most of
they were
them.
shipped before,
Yeah.
and Fujifilm is changing their manufacturing points of origin just to accommodate the tariffs. So right now, a lot of the things that are meant for the United States and Canada are being made in Japan rather than China.
Mm-hmm.
But again, everything is staying the same price. And with the tariffs in place, I feel bad for the Canadians because you guys are next door to us, rowdy Americans. So what's good for us has to be good for you too. Otherwise,
Yeah. And
there'd be
also a
some
lot of the distributors are in the US, so sometimes the cameras go from Japan or whatever to US and then to Canada.
yep,
And there's a, as you know,
another tariff.
there's a tariff there too. So it just keeps piling up. So yeah, man, it's going to become increasingly expensive to buy stuff, including cameras and lenses, in 2025 and beyond, unless there's something that changes. So yeah, that little legal line item that says subject to change with very little notice is very true.
Yep.
We don't know. Yeah.
I have a feeling. Now, I'm going to be optimistic, Mark, and say that there's going to be a deal made between the United States and Japan. And I
Yeah.
think, I hope, fingers crossed, that we may see a reduction in that price. So anybody who has the camera right now on pre-order has not had their card charged.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because in the United States, I know with the camera company that's close to me where I pre-ordered the X100 and B&H and all them, you're not charged until the camera is being shipped to you.
Some of them take a deposit,
Some
you know,
might take a deposit, like an initial charge.
but it's not for the full price. Yeah.
It's not
Right.
for the full price. And so I'm hoping come August there will be a surprise for everybody who has it on pre-order. Again, I'm being optimistic. I'm trying to look at the bright side. Believe me, I'm trying to look on the bright side.
It's we have to because there's there's too many reasons not to do it. And I did say 2200. This comes with a 23 millimeter lens, so the right price in Canadian. I don't want to alarm my Canadian friends of a surtax. It is $2,000 for a X-E5 body alone, and it arrives in stores August 28th. I don't know if it's the same date for you guys in the US.
I think it's the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
That would make sense. But yeah, it's plenty of time for them to manufacture the cameras. Hopefully, they'll have a good amount to send out to everybody.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
no, they need to make the X half and the XE5 and the X106. I guess there's also XT5 being made and XT40. Oh my God, XT50. That's a lot of cameras. XM5 also. My goodness.
they have their factories cut out for them.
Wow.
So yeah. Whew. I mean, if things carry on right now without any kind of change, if the tariffs are going to be high for the foreseeable future, I would say that this is going to be the big litmus test for future Fujifilm cameras.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if the X-E5, for whatever reason, even if there's a better deal made in the United States and Japan, and Fujifilm keeps the price at $1,700 US, that's gonna hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
Certainly.
look at it, I could see it from a business standpoint. If people are willing to buy it right now at 1,700, and we're already selling out in our pre-orders, why do we need to make it lower? I mean, it would be nice for them to lower the price, but I don't see an incentive for them to lower the price either.
I agree. Business wise, just more margin, more profits,
More profit
EBITDA.
on their side, yeah.
Yes.
Is that greedy? You can make that argument, absolutely. I would say it's ambitious
Yeah.
because that is just going to spell because what's happening right now is going to affect the XT6 and the X
Oh yeah.
Pro, new X Pro, whatever number it's going to be moving forward. So, man, I mean, right now everything is all pie in the sky speculation mode. So nothing
Yeah.
is certain right now. I am just blue skying everything. I am still going to be Captain Optimistic and say that come August, end of August, when the cameras ship, we might see a lower price tag in the United States. I hope. I pray. Knock on wood. Salt over the shoulder. Any higher deity, take your pick.
We'll see.
We'll see. So, what other cool stuff are being presented in the Xe5? We have the IBIS. We have the 40 megapixel
Mm-hmm.
sensor that we're used to for the XT5 and the XT50 and such. The the viewfinder, it has been
Yeah.
another contentious point. It has one negative and a few pluses.
Well, I mean, the fact that they brought, we'll start with the positive stuff. The fact that they brought back that level, like that metering system that you find in old film cameras. Again, they went all in terms of retro looking and also retro experience in terms of what you're seeing, how you manage your exposure. The fact that they use the red, you little, digit at the bottom, it really feels like you're looking through a Pentax or whatever, like an old
Yeah.
film camera or Nikon and so on. And it has that UV type little, needle to
Yep,
show
like
you if you're
resolution, yeah.
overexposed, underexposed. That is cool. The resolution is still bad. So both from the EVF and the LCD screen. But again, it's a quote unquote entry level camera, and I'm pretty sure they have a load of those screens that they need to, maximize profits on, and they just keep putting it on the back. I'm sure it's the same actually. Is it the same from the Xe4 and the Xe5? I'm sure they didn't bump the resolution. It's
I I don't know, but I hear that it's worse than the XT50.
worse than the X350. Yeah, that could very potentially be because again, Xe4, quote unquote entry level. You could argue XT50 is also entry level, but it has some very pro features I find on the XT50.
You make an
Yeah,
excellent point that the poor XE line has had a very, very cursed history. The XE1 I heard did okay. XE2 and the 2S and the 3 did not sell very well because they were always they got slammed by other cameras by Fujifilm that were being released around the same time. And they probably do have extra spare parts from the 3 that they need to put onto the new camera. So that would not surprise me
yeah.
that is the reason why we have a lesser viewfinder.
Yeah,
How
I've shot the XE4 for a long time actually, and I didn't find any issue with the LCD. Again, it's all like from 2.5 million pixel to 3 to 3.1. Yes, of course, the higher resolution, the better. But when you're out and shooting, unless you're shooting in super bright sunlight and so on, it's fine. I mean, if you look through the viewfinder, it doesn't matter if there's sun. If you look through the LCD, yes, of course it will, but it will on any modern camera, regardless of the number of megapixel. Again, I
Yeah.
would take more, yes, but I don't find it a showstopper because it has 2.85 million pixel on the back.
Yeah, I've never so in my old age as I approach 50, I have been using the viewfinder less and less. I find it easier to look at it here than here. And part of it is because I'm wearing glasses.
Yeah,
The glasses don't allow me to see the whole view. And so looking at the LCD screen is just easier on my part. So I never really cared about the how many dots are in the freaking electronic viewfinder. Now, I could switch to contacts, but I'm afraid of contacts because I can't. I
It's
just have,
something in your body.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fight to get eye drops in my eyes. Like my body is just so
Yeah.
anti. Do not touch these things.
Yeah.
So that's
And this is where I think the optical viewfinder is very interesting when you pick up an X Pro or an X100. It becomes like, oh wow, I can see through the glass. It's so simple, but like the actual scene itself, not a TV screen. So actually, people who wear glasses, a lot of them when they use Leicas and Fuji cameras, will prefer that clear screen. And of course, you have to sometimes put a diopter to adjust it because of the glasses, the reflection and the size and everything. But there are magnification ratios that are optimized for glasses. So again, yes, resolution, I'm all for it. The more the merrier, the more the better. But I don't think anybody should really care about any cameras that were produced in the past 5 to 7 years. They're all pretty decent,
yeah.
both from an LCD and a viewfinder.
I agree. I don't think that's a deal breaker to kind of nitpick that alone.
Yeah.
All right, I guess this is where you plant your flag. All right, I can't fault him for it. There are other cameras that are better, but
Yeah,
sure.
Nikon has better resolution on their screens. Like it's just what it is. What it is.
Yeah.
Sony, it depends. It depends which one. If you pay $6,000 for your camera, you'll get good resolution. If you pay $2,000 for your camera, you'll get shit resolution. So again, it really depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I will say this though: the battery. We keep complaining about that battery. It keeps showing up. It is what it is, man. There's physical limitation on cameras that you can't go beyond. Like it's just
Yeah, you would need
that's
to
the
make the
size.
camera bigger.
Exactly. So, and the point of the XE4 or the XE5 or XE line is to put it in your almost in your pocket. If you put a pancake, a 27 f2.8 on that, you're good to go, my friend. You like put it in your jacket pocket, and you don't need to bring a bag, or you don't even need to bring a strap. You just put a wrist strap on it or nothing. Maybe a thumb rest, and yeah, you're good to go.
Side tangent. When I took a look at that brand new camera, I wondered how they were going to be able to make a thumb rest for that camera. Like just because of the curve.
Yeah.
Like, how is that
My,
going to work? But sure
my
enough,
friend
all
down,
it
my
did
friend
it.
down at Lensmates will make one. I'm sure. I mean, he does the most craziest like adjustments. He had one that folded for the X100 to give you access to the dial. So I commend him. I salute him, and I'm putting him to the test. Make us a great XE5 thumb rest, Dan, if you're listening, and I'm sure he is, and he will. And please visit his website.
Oh, what is his
Lensmate.
website?
Yeah, lensmates.com, I think it is. Yeah, well, we can
Perfect.
put it in the show notes maybe.
Put it in the show notes. That's
Yeah.
where it's going. But yeah, sure enough, Small Rig released a bunch of accessories for this camera, and as always, they look incredible. So it's doable.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about that pancake lens. It is the new XF 23 millimeter weather sealed pancake lens, and I gotta say, it looks pretty sweet. It really matches the aesthetic of the XE5. I was about to
Yeah.
say before.
Yeah, they really build on the success of the 27. They sold so many of the 27 f2.8. They said, let's build something that goes well with it, with the XM line, or the XE, sorry, line. And it looks brilliant. Like it fits right on to that ecosystem.
I wonder if now that they have this 23 millimeter, if the 27 millimeter will be available. I don't think it's
Man,
been available since the XE4 got
it's
announced.
crazy, yeah. It's crazy how everything's hard to get. these
Oh,
days.
Jesus. And,
I sold two of them. I shouldn't say that on this podcast, but I had one and my partner had one, and we sold them, and today we regret it like everybody else.
yep.
But it was too good to be true. People were willing to pay more
Yeah.
for that lens because it's business at the end of the day. It's available, or it's not, and when it's not, prices go up.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah, this is I mean, this little guy has a little bit of a controversy as well because it's using I guess the old, I guess the linear motor
yeah,
that previous lenses had, and
yep,
I think if I were to hazard a guess, again, I'm no mechanic, I'm no economist either, but to keep it very small, they needed to have that machined in a certain way. So I'm
yeah.
I've never had a problem with the previous version. I've never had a problem with the linear motors. I think it's fine.
I mean, my 35 from 2011 still works very good. And is it the fastest? No. Is it the quietest? No. But we're taking photos here. We're not, designing a rocket ship that goes to the moon.
Right.
It works. Again, if you're a sport shooter, it's probably not the right camera nor lens for
Yep.
you to use. If you're doing street and travel, it doesn't matter that it took zero point 0.5 millisecond more to acquire focus. I will say this, though. They need Fujifilm camera, still need to work on their autofocus. This is a broken record theme that we keep referring to. We're not the only ones. So that needs to be better. But the lens performance, pretty decent, pretty on par with
Yeah.
what's out there. What needs to be fixed is when it tells you that it acquired focus, that it did acquire focus. That's what they need to fix. And that's another podcast episode.
That's another podcast. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
have to say that, yes, ever since the autofocus gate back in 2024, it has been an ongoing struggle. And I really do hope that when it's time for the next generation cameras, that they really, really address that. I think that's going to have to be the
XT6 needs to be flawless. XH3 needs to be flawless. Needs to be Sony level, Canon level. I'm sorry, Fuji. I'm with you, Mark. I love the brand, but that is unacceptable. In 2025, unacceptable. Maybe in 2020, 1, 2, 3, when they were figuring out how to put eye autofocus and stuff. Today, in today's terms, it's unacceptable. I don't care. Go, steal Sony's or Canon's engineer, bring him to your company and fix it. What do you think most companies do when they have a problem? They surround themselves with experts that can fix the problem. Not consultant, not people that pretend that they can do it. They just hire the person. What do you think? Why is OpenAI wanted to work with Jonathan Ives from Apple? Because he's the best at designing product. Like it is what it is.
I am looking forward to what they come out with on that.
If there's one guy that can beat Apple, it's the guy who designed the iPhone, So, or the iMac and the
a whole
MacBook
bunch
and
of stuff.
Yeah.
He designed a Leica.
Did he? Oh well, a collab. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't redesign the shape of the body, though.
No. It was just
okay.
it was a very special edition.
Yes.
And I have to say, as good as Johnny Ives is, that Leica camera that he designed looked like ass.
Well, not everything that Leica designed and collab on is looking good. Let me tell you that. I mean, I've seen some horrible looking Leicas in the market that sell for crazy price because it's Leica, it's whatever.
It's Leica.
Lenny Kravitz Leica, whatever. But man, some horrible stuff out there. But it's like wine, huh? You might like it, I might not, and that's why it's so cool to be able to build your own, array of tools that you use and that you enjoy using and looking at.
Yep. As long as they sold both of their cameras, that's fine.
There you go.
They make. But the pancake lens, I like it. In fact, if I were pre-ordering this camera, I would definitely say get it with the 23 millimeter lens.
Oh, it's a no-brainer. Just price alone. You can resell it afterwards if you don't like it. Yeah.
Seriously, it's when I bought the XE4, I regretted not buying it with the
The 27.
the 27.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it,
that
it,
exactly.
it made a huge difference. I got to try the 27 millimeter lens from Fujifilm, but I never bought it, and I could never buy it. It just was never available.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's important to note that this camera, you could get it bundled with the XE5
yes.
and have it delivered in August, but the lens itself alone will not be available until December. And
Again, it's just frustrating customer experience. I hate to say it again. Yeah,
yeah, I think all right. So those are the big
yeah,
takeaways from the camera. Let's talk about Fujifilm as a whole. They have this is now how many cameras have we had since the launch of the X106? We've had
the half.
the X half, we've had the GFX 100
Yes,
RF, and now we have the
the XE5.
XE line. And the XE5 is basically bookends generation 5 of their processors.
Yeah,
I have to say, just overall, I think Fujifilm has finally found their groove as far as camera releases go. They
yeah,
found that pace that was iffy with back with the I mean legendarily the XH1 had just a
XT3, XH1, the worst planning on the planet. Yeah,
well the XT3 and the XH1 both sucked.
cannibalization 101. Like you go to a business class and they tell you not to do that, not
Yep.
to release a product that has better video specs, that's competing against a camera that you a month before, 2 months before, said that was your flagship video camera. Like it's just not processing.
Right. Oh, and also let's not forget the little guy, the X70. That little
Yeah,
guy, that little guy got a raw deal. Being launched at the same time as the which X100 was it launched with?
X102 or 3, I forgot.
Probably the S, yeah.
Yeah, the second. Yeah, the second. You know what? We're on a video podcast, and I know this is going to go up on your channel. I need to go take my X70 because this is important.
All right, I'm gonna grab my other camera here. If we're
This camera, Fujifilm needs to address and re-release and have an X80 because a couple of things. I mean, back then it was already flip screen.
yep,
You know, I forgot what year was that, 2013 or something?
yeah,
14? Look at the size of this lens. This is an 18 f 2.8 or f2?
That's
f2.8. Look at the size of this. This is a true Ricoh GR competitor right there. This is a truly
it's saying
pocketable camera. Yeah, and sorry for the guys who are listening, but I mean, just look up X70. You'll
Yeah.
understand why both Marc and I are pretty passionate about that. It has a flash built in.
yep.
Like this, it doesn't have an EVF, of course. But again, this is a Ricoh GR killer right there. And I still, to this date, don't understand why they stopped at the X70. I'm keeping mine.
When the XM5 was announced,
Yeah.
I really thought that they missed an opportunity to make the X70 killer.
Yeah.
Basically, the not killer, but it's already dead.
Yeah.
The successor is what I meant to say. That is, I mean, just think of that size and that a fixed lens on it. It would be the perfect successor. Now, I understand why they will never have a camera that size again. It's because of the battery.
Battery and IBIS, I guess.
Probably, I don't know
yeah.
if it would have IBIS. If I were making an X80 successor, I don't think I'd put IBIS in it. I think I would make it. I would make a smaller version of the XM5, as much as you can shave off any kind of size.
Yeah, you're right.
because you need that battery. That battery's here to stay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Look at the size of this battery. Again, sorry
I
for the
know that's
guys who
an
are
old
listening. This
battery.
is a very small, old battery. I don't even
Do
know if
you
you
even
can
get
find
that
them
battery
anymore.
anymore?
I don't think so. You have to find it on the used market, but
Third
that
party
is a
too. Yeah,
third party. Yeah, you're right. NP95. Those were the batteries, man.
those were the batteries.
It lasted a pretty decent amount of time, honestly, to be honest.
They were fine.
Yeah, they were fine. And you could put a 16 gig card in there and you're good for, I don't know,
Yeah.
1,000 shots.
So let me share what I'm testing out right now.
Oh,
Uh,
oh.
is this bad boy here?
Aha,
I
the
have
GFX.
GFX 100 RF. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. It's
It's
been
so cool.
raining and it's been crazy lately. So I'm taking after this call that interview that we're doing. I
Yeah.
am heading up to the White Mountains to photograph the lupins with my kiddo
Nice.
and
Nice.
going to check it out there. But
See, that's a camera that I think it should deserves more attention. I think it got a certain amount of attention, but
it got a certain amount of attention.
yes, it did, and a lot of flag also, a lot of flag. A lot of people were frustrated. Again, people have so much hate for camera brands these days that it's not even funny. Like, dude, this is a medium format camera that you can put in your bag. You don't even really feel it, and you get 100 megapixel. It's weather sealed. It has high bis. It can do video. Like, what are you complaining about? I guess those are the same people who complain about the Wi-Fi not being good on a plane. And I often said to these people, dude, you're 36,000 feet in the air. You're flying, literally. You're sitting. Your ass is up in the air, and you're complaining about the internet. Like, really? Like, you know. Anyways, that's just my
I
rant.
hear you, man. Oh, let's touch on a couple other features
Yes.
for the XE5. The XE5, much like the GFX, has the new camera strap.
Yeah, which is killer strap.
It is a nice camera strap.
Yes, it's way better than anything else they've provided with cameras.
And I'm wondering if this is going to be the new normal for Fujifilm. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's kind of like a mea culpa for the price tag, but
exactly.
I really hope that this camera strap is the new normal.
Yeah, camera straps are it's a big business. Like a lot of brands, a lot of collabs and stuff. And I think Short Stash did some collabs with Fujifilm. Was it Short Stash or Mr. Whisper? Whatever. Like some
Yeah.
Fujifilm ambassador. Like it's cool. Like it's an element that not only makes your experience more enjoyable to shoot the camera, but it's also a way to express yourself.
Yep.
I like it. I have red straps, black straps. I have, an array of different straps, and I choose on the day and I choose on what type of or how, long I want it to be. Sometimes I have short and long.
Yep.
It really is something interesting.
It's fun.
It's yeah, exactly. And I truly enjoy all those brands that are coming up with like new innovative ways to make camera straps. And
Yeah.
we have one here in Montreal called Fab. And I think it's Fabien, the name of the guy. He makes them by hand. I highly encourage people to go see that. They look super good on Fujifilm cameras because of the retro style.
Yeah.
Another link we can put in the show notes. I'm doing
Yep.
a lot of promo, not sponsored,
Not sponsored.
for my friends of Montreal because hey man, in this economy we need to encourage our local camera shops, our local handcrafted type of enterprise. So like let's really highlight those things because if we want to keep this industry alive, a lot of them are struggling right now. I know people personally at camera shops that are like, dude, I don't know if I'll be around in a year because of those tariffs and stuff. We laughed about it earlier, but there's no laughing there. Tariffs are
Yeah.
really putting a lot of businesses in jeopardy. Sorry, I'm being very political and very
No.
direct today, but like I feel for my community.
There, on our side too, it has become an eye opener. I recommend everybody check out a channel called Smarter Every Day.
Yes.
The guy Dustin has done an episode where he illustrates the craziness of how dependent we are on China and basically how when you want something made in your own country, wherever that is. It's not just a US or Canada thing. It's an everywhere thing. There's just so much reliance on manufacturing from one other part of the world. And I think, I mean, if I were to put another bright side to all this that's happening right now, it does illustrate how dependent we are on one particular region of the world. And I think having that change happen now rather than later is very important. So I agree with you. So let's just leave it at that before I
exactly.
Before I dig some more holes in the ground.
I think we're gonna either gain some listeners or lose some listeners, which is also fine. I think again, we need to stand up for something. At the end of the day, by the way, Mark and I are not pushing Fujifilm products and so on. We're passionate about both the art and the gear we use to tell our stories. And we happen to like Fujifilm. I happen to like Leica. I'm sure you do like other brands too. It's not and yes, this is the Fuji Love podcast, so we're heavily focused on Fujifilm. But at the end of the day, there's humans behind the cameras you use, the straps that you buy, the filters that you enjoy using, and so on. And I think it's important to bring that back, especially in this day and age and this time where it's easy to get lost in like who makes what and why is it important to buy local. Like that's why. That is why. Yeah. If we want to have an industry and passionate conversations like we're having today, and healthy debates and healthy and growing together, it needs to be healthy. And for that, there needs to be money within the industry that keeps the businesses alive. Again, I'm done with my rant too, but I think we violently agree on that point.
Yes. Let's talk about one additional feature that's not being talked about for the X-E5. And this is one that finally is being addressed. And that is the X-E5 will now be able to communicate via Bluetooth to their respective brand new Instax printers.
Oh, yes. I love Instax printers. I love this. Those are not the new ones. This is how OG I am. Those are.
Yeah, I have the old one too.
This is the SP1, my friend, and they still work with a very old school app, but they work, man.
But they talk directly to the camera, which is the important part. Yeah.
Which this camera back in the day did talk directly to the SP1. So the XE line weren't talking to the printers.
So all of the cameras right now can talk to the SP printers.
Yes.
The SP 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
They cannot talk to the Instax wide printer or any of the other ones that were made since the Instax wide.
What a weird bug.
It's not a bug because I'm no engineer, but as far as I can figure, the SP printers are talking to the camera via Wi-Fi, and they're sending the photo via Wi-Fi. The new ones, since the Instax wide printer, they do not have a Wi-Fi component. They are all Bluetooth? Just Bluetooth. Okay. So with the SP printers, they make the handshake via Bluetooth, but transition to Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And so the Fujifilm cameras can't talk to the newer Instax printers. And that's always been that is my hill to die on. I have personally said it to Fujifilm saying, fix this. And they have. It took a few cameras, but they did it.
Took a few years.
Now, I haven't tried this myself. I only heard about this secondhand. I think Paltatech mentioned this in their video. And even he hasn't used it yet. So when I have a chance to use it, you betcha that I will be testing that.
You have the white printer?
I have the wide printer. Yep.
You recommend it over the SP? I mean, this is fairly small, I know, but what's the what's the size?
It's a good size.
Yeah.
I my point of view on the SP printer is that if you can get a hold of the SP3, which is a square format,
Yeah.
get it. Because I think that is the best resolution printer that you can get for Fujifilm right now. The when they switched over to Bluetooth, something's different about the prints. They're not they feel more digitally than they do filmy.
Yeah.
I like the resolution. I like the quality of the print better on the SPs rather than the new ones. That's
Got
just
it.
my take. Is it
Yeah.
still good? Yes.
Yeah.
But the SPs are better.
Yeah, and there's something again nostalgic about those SPs. I mean, this was, I guess, 2011 or 12, same time frame as the original X100 or the X Pro and so on. And I printed so many photos when I travel and give them to the people I photographed. And again,
Yeah.
so it's something that photography was a bit different back then.
Yep.
It was simpler. It was less about the specs. We were just happy to like see something coming out of a of a printer, a portable printer. Today is just, oh, I need this result, I need Wi-Fi. I need, again, I think I don't want to sound like an old fart, but I there's something nostalgic about that I appreciate, that I keep. Again, I have two of them in case one breaks, and
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. No intention of upgrading, but I was curious about the wide aspect that you
I like
that
the
you have.
one. I'm talking smack right now, but in the end, I'm glad I have it. I would recommend it. I use these very heavily at weddings that I photograph.
Yes.
And they make such a big difference. I like to refer to it as reminiscing immediately for the couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
I make that joke. That's a Dimitri Martin joke, a comedian. I don't know if he's still around, but I stole that joke. So it's good. It's such a small thing, but such a big deal, and I am glad that they made it, and I hope they make more SP printers. I wonder if the SP can be the pro version, while the others can be like the consumer grade, whatever it is.
And the listener should also know that Fujifilm, all the profits are coming from Instax line, including the printers, not the camera lines. They do make some money on the cameras, of course, but the cash cow, and look at the financial reports, it's all about Instax. Like, that's how the company makes a shitload of money.
Bring it in, baby. I'm all for it. I'm so glad. Yeah. So let's wrap things up by talking about what's next to come. I think the next X Pro. Oh, there you go. You already have it. It's already made.
I have it here, and if you're watching this stream or this show, you see the next. It's an interchangeable lens, of course, and it has that beautiful, beautiful 1 megapixel sensor, because we're going back full nostalgia. 1.2, I think. It's made by Kodak. It's CCD, and this is a 35 1.4, of course, and it comes with it, right? So pretty cool.
That's fun. Very cool. So, what do you think is going to be on the X Pro?
I feel we had that conversation for the past 3 years.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know anymore. Honestly, I don't even know if they're gonna make it. Like, of course they're gonna make it, but
they're gonna make it.
yeah, they're gonna make it.
So, if I were to guess, I'll go first. Let me be pie in the sky. I think you will have the film simulation dial that is on the XE5,
They have to put it. Yeah.
but it will be bigger
Yes.
and be able to hold more film simulations. I think we're going to get a brand new film simulation, whatever that will be. I think we will have one of two things. I think we will have no LCD screen on the back, or we will have a similar hidden LCD screen, but instead of it being just a flip down, I think you'll be able to reverse it.
Yeah,
So,
a bit like Sony with their fully art and Panasonic fully articulating and folding back type screen type thing.
I think so. I think one of the listeners shared a very old Nikon that had this ability.
Really?
Yes. So it could flip downwards
Yep.
and then turn it and then flip it
Yep.
back up. And so I think we'll have that.
Yep.
I think we will also have the so here's the tricky one. We'll either have the dial for the film simulation, or we'll have that screen that the X-half has. Because that X-half little LCD screen for the film simulation that you could swipe, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, since it's supposed to be the pro version, I think it's more quote unquote gimmicky. Again, I understand why they did that, and it's cool, and it's half frame, and it's swipe.
Yeah.
But I don't see that making it to the
I see the dial
the
being
X Pro.
more prevalent.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the dial is just at first when it was introduced on the XT50, I want to say. When was the first like physical dial for the film sim? Was it the XT50? It was cool, but like people were like, I'm not sure. Okay, it's replacing the ISO. But now that it's super well integrated under that little window, I think this is the best integration, and I think it will make it to other cameras like the X Pro, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right.
New sensor or no?
Oh, yeah. You're getting the Generation 6.
Yeah. Which
Definitely.
again, APS-C. Can you bring it to 60 megapixel? Is that something that's doable?
I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be more than 40.
And can you stack a 40 megapixel?
We could try.
Yeah, but Mark and I are just,
Pie in the sky.
exactly. I'm
Again,
sure
we're no interest.
Fujifilm people are like, can you stop these two guys? They're inventing technology that doesn't exist. Anyway,
Yeah.
so no, I think you're right. APS-C you don't really need 60, and at the end of the day, low light will be affected. Like so, yeah, I think 40 is the sweet spot. It's just crazy that we're saying that. Not long ago, we were saying how 26 was the ultimate, APS-C sweet spot. But I guess now, with modern technology,
What about this? You have the articulating screen that I mentioned before. You have rather than the dial for the X. Hang on. Let me grab my X Pro.
oh, he's grabbing the most debated camera on
All
the
right,
internet.
here we go.
On the Fuji side, at least.
I know for audio people, it's not cool.
I filled in.
So this is my X Pro 2.
Yes. By the way, the X Pro 2, best camera ever made, ever.
I got a story about this for next time. I think I've already mentioned it on the show. This is my original X2 that I sold to my buddy. That I bought it back by trading in my XT4. So right here would probably be where the film simulation happens.
Yeah.
What if this was the LCD screen that you could swipe?
Oh, yeah. Okay. You remember how Canon had at some point, and it was the most hated feature integration, but you had to swipe to instead of dials. Again, anything LCD and swiping and stuff on an X Pro, I don't know. I don't see it. I see it on more entry level.
Yeah, right. You make an excellent point. It's the X Pro is all about the dials.
Yeah.
It's so okay. One more pie in the sky, and I'm going to throw this at you. I don't know if this is a thing, But what if you have your X Pro, you have the LCD screen that drops, can be hidden, but rather than having the display of the film simulation, which I thought was all right, but I thought that caused a lot of problems.
Hmm.
What if you have that dial on film cameras that told you what the ISO was?
Yeah, that I could see, and I mean the Leica MD does it very well. It doesn't have a screen; it has that dial,
Yep.
and yes, it's digital, and you can select the dial. So yeah, I could see that more than anything, any swipey type of screens. Yeah, definitely, and it would bring back my prediction from, I don't know, 2 years or a year ago when we talked about X Pro line. Doesn't need a screen. Like, this is a camera that is needs to be unique. Doesn't need to be, to try to be everything, to be a video camera and a selfie and a blah blah
Yep.
blah. No, no, no. It's your street photography, travel photography, or whatever photography you want to do with it. But ultimately, that type of rangefinder style experience and film type experience. So if you add one plus one, you get exactly the camera we just described, with maybe an ISO dial in the back. You're on top the film sim and the shutter speed, and of course the lenses all, or almost all, have that aperture ring. So that is the closest thing to shooting film. And as we know, a lot of people want to shoot film, but $26 a Porto 400 roll, a lot of people are deterred to shoot film in this economy.
I overall, I got to say, I mentioned this in the last episode when I talked about the X half. I think at the end of the day, as long as Fujifilm is focused on the photography experience instead of the film experience, I think that is
Yeah,
going to be a winner.
I agree.
Because photography, I mean, we associated a lot of things with film photography because that is the last time when these functions worked, is with film.
Yep,
So as long as everything's focused on the end product of photography, I think we have a winner.
I agree.
So whatever that will be.
Yep.
So anyway, let's end there. Get our foot out of our mouth. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of a lot of complaints or anything like that.
Send your complaints to Mark, not me.
Send them to
Thank you.
me. FujiLoveFeedback@gmail.com.
I'm just here to derail whatever plan was, for today.
Oh, that's all good. I've been doing it for years already. Fred, tell the world where they can find you on the web.
Good question. So I absolutely love the fact that I have a newsletter in a very healthy size now. So please go on fredranger.com. You'll find a place to enter your email. And I purposefully sending people to my website rather than, Instagram, and I am on Instagram with the same handle, Fred Ranger, as usually. And also just crossed the 10,000 mark on YouTube. So if you want to join,
Congratulations. I was about to mention that.
thank you
That
so
is
much.
awesome.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much. So still a small channel, but very, very healthy community there. So on YouTube, I'm Fred Ranger too.
Very good. And you can find me, Marc Sadowski, here on Fuji Love or on my YouTube channel, Filmish, depending on where you're listening or watching this. And in the notes, I have links to my Substack that I've been doing. I also have a Filmish podcast that is supplemental to Fuji Love. And check it out. And I'd love to hear from you. So, Fred, thank you so much for being on the show. This is always a treat to have you on to talk about the latest and greatest in all things Fujifilm. So we'll do this again soon.
See you in August.